And hello, it's me. I'm Vivian. I'm back in recording for it's been ages. I mean, I guess a Civ video went up semi-recently, but I hadn't actually recorded in ages. One, for a little bit I just didn't feel like it or have the time. But mainly my PC has had a ton of issues. And just... like at first it had a memory leak that was related to certain versions of Windows 10, like the modern versions. And the Intel UHD 630 drivers causing a memory leak, and I spent like a week or 2 weeks troubleshooting that because I didn't know what the memory leak was until I found out it was that. And my only solution was to then downgrade to 2.5-year-old drivers. Which that worked for a little bit, but then my PC stopped being able to render text, so then I had to update Windows and also update the Intel drivers to render text again, and now it seems everything's fine. I hope. No memory leak in Desktop Window Manager. Windows renders text, so I'm assuming everything's fine. And I could continue on a series, but I kind of felt like playing Demon's Tilt. I'm playing it on PC right now, but it's also on PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. I originally played this via Game Pass and fell in love with it, but now I own it, as it's no longer on Game Pass. I just really like pinball video games, especially ones that get real weird and absurd about it. Also, I have, there are visual filters turned on. I have one to make it look like the RGB segments on like a CRT. But it's a pinball game specifically inspired by the Crush series of pinball games, so that would be Alien Crush and Demon's Crush on the TurboGrafx 16, and the Japan-only Super Famicom Jaggy Crush. You can actually still get Demon's Crush and Alien Crush on the Wii U Virtual Console. You might also be able to get it in that TurboGrafx 16 Mini, or what was the other name of the TurboGrafx 16? Was it called the, let's see, it was the NEC... What was the TurboGrafx called? What was the other name? Because it was TurboGrafx 16 in the US, but it had a different name. It's not important anyways. Those aren't the games that made me fall in love with the pinball video game genre. Specifically for me, it was obviously Space Cadet Pinball that used to come built into Windows. That was actually a Maxis game. And I played a lot of Pokemon Pinball, the Game Boy/Game Boy Color original, and Ruby and Sapphire, Pokemon Pinball Ruby and Sapphire in the GBA. But that made me realize I actually really like pinball video games. And this one I just absolutely love. It's super good. But yeah, on PC you can also get it. It might be on GOG, but you can get it via the Windows Store / the Xbox app, which that version is cross-buy with on Xbox One and Series S and X. It's also on Steam. For some reason the price differs by platform. I don't know what that's about. And it does have PC controls. I'm just playing with a controller right now because I already have them plugged in. I don't know why I'm giving such a long preamble. It's pinball. You'll see it as I go in. Also, I find it weird that despite it being heavily inspired by the Crush series of video games, that the music is very clearly Sega Genesis chiptunes. Yeah, this game also has... I don't know about you, but I think this is some great pixel art. I'm also not very good at the game, but it's fantastic. There are also some features you can turn on. I don't know why one turned off, but there's a feature to draw a ball trail. I actually might just go into the settings now so you can see them. But you can choose camera auto center on or off. You can turn on and off screen flash and shaking. I might actually turn off screen flashing for this video. I probably already ruined it in case you're photosensitive. You could have a visibility trail to follow the ball. You can change the zoom, change the contrast, put on color correction filters, and add on RGB and scanline effects. Which I can't seem to access. Let's add the those. There's also a ball attendant. I don't know. I guess that's if your ball gets stuck. So hopefully this should make it a little better if you're photosensitive. Just in case, this game might still be up your alley. I'm not sure if it's how particularly safe it is, even without screen flashing effects. As I'm not particularly photosensitive myself. I guess that's something you'll have to gauge for yourself, and there are probably better resources out there, since there are specific websites that review games based on accessibility, including photosensitivity. At least it's not as bad as Cyberpunk, which launched without an epilepsy warning anywhere in the actual game itself, and also had an unskippable animation that replicates a tool that doctors use to purposefully induce a seizure in order to diagnose epilepsy. So at least it's not that bad. I can't believe that happened, and that PS4 and Xbox certification allowed that to happen, or PlayStation in general. That might, in fact, be illegal. So, in terms, like, you can do normal pinball stuff, and like many pinball video games, there are criteria in order to unlock different mini-games or different goals, and you can see I'll get little missions, or rather rituals, assigned on the side that I can complete in order to earn points and progress. You'll also notice sometimes when those bullets are shot at me, some of them are gold. If I hit the gold ones, it turns all of those particles into coins. And if you hit this little anvil here, it can convert like collected coins, I think, and stuff into an increasing multiplier. And then the little hand there with those spinners. You can get a jackpot from that. That also might be related to coin collecting. I've played this game, but that doesn't mean I understand everything. So that got locked in. I could lock in 2 more balls to do something there. Yeah, and there's enemies that will pop up that you can destroy, much like Aliens Crush and Devil's Crush and Jaggy Crush. Aliens Crush also had a remake. Not recently. It was a WiiWare remake that remade Aliens Crush but with 3D models. It was exclusively a download on the Wii, which means, unfortunately, if you haven't bought it already, you can't buy it anymore. As they've never released that Alien Crush remake anywhere else, as far as I'm aware. Although the original is still accessible, I think, again, still on the TurboGrafx Mini, and on the Wii U as a digital download, although I don't know how accessible Wii U digital downloads are to most people. So I would assume for most people that is not accessible at all. I mean, I bought Devil's Crush as a download on the Wii U, but those aren't exactly popular. Not to mention that those were only put on the Wii U eShop in 2018, so long after anyone cared about the console, other than me. I'm doing really bad today. I don't know what's going on with me. I just wanted to record something. This time I'll turn off the RGB and the scan line just to get a cleaner view of the game. Especially because I didn't even think about how YouTube compression is going to make that look. But probably like shit. Especially considering I'm not exactly recording in 4K or anything. Not that I could even display in 4K. Do not have a single 4K display, let alone my built-in laptop screen. Which I guess having a 4K laptop screen wouldn't be a big boon to me, considering for most games I don't really have the GPU power to do that. And I feel like a lot of older games the UI isn't going to scale properly, so I might as well just, you know, just increase anti-aliasing or super sampling when possible. Super sampling doesn't mess with the UI, does it? Does super sampling always maintain the GUI scale? And does that only work in games that your graphics driver supports? Cool ball location. I've never actually gotten my ball stuck until today, so it definitely knows I'm recording. Luckily the right stick tilts. That little floating skull there is actually your tilt meter. It'll fill up the more that I tilt things around. And when it reaches 100, the game will detect a tilt and not let you use your flippers anymore. The game actually recommends, though, that you do use tilting to your advantage. Which kind of sucks for me, since I never tilt in any pinball video game on purpose. So I'm going to have to learn how to actually utilize that. I don't know. I guess my brain is asleep, which is unfortunate, because it's only 3:45 p.m. right now, and at 6:30 p.m. I'm starting a virtual drunken movie night. I guess I'm not starting, I'm participating in it. A friend, Zach, of mine, pre-quarantine, used to host drunk movie nights where we'd watch the absolute worst movies imaginable that he'd usually curate. And so we haven't done one all 2020, so we're hosting a virtual one over the internet. We're going to be watching another Neil Breen theme film, which, if you haven't heard of Neil Breen, there's good reason for it. You should go look him up. He's awful. The only other one I watched was Fateful Findings. This time, what is it? Is it Twisted Hands? Two hands? A pair of twisted hands? I can't remember. Yeah, it's really weird how many pinball games have incorporated tilting. Especially because some you just hit it and then it detects a tilt. And so you have a virtual way to cheat with a physical cabinet. Except now in this game it's like something purposeful that they want you to do, but not too much. It's just really weird how that works, about how pinball is like specifically about the physicality and tactility of it. But now we have this whole subgenre of pinball video games that are specifically doing things with pinball that would be impossible to do on an actual machine. And it's really weird. But I'm all for it. Pinball video games actually have a long history of trying to simulate pinball. Not only was it something that you used to be able to use to show off your new hardware, but also software writing skills in order to physically simulate a pinball table. And then later graphically, once 3D graphics came into being, you could start simulating 3D pinballs and 3D tables. Although I'd say that pinball as a tech showcase kind of died off in the early 2000s. And then it became a lot more about licensing real pinball tables for people who wanted to own real pinball tables, but that's prohibitively expensive and takes up too much space and makes too much noise. Which would be someone like me, except I also don't care about recreating real pinball machines that much. But Pinball Simulation is actually how we got Breakout, or Brick Breaker, or Arkanoid. It has many names. The first games that called themselves Pinball, trying to be Pinball, it was too difficult to simulate like an actual pinball table and a ball bouncing around off of objects and multiple flippers. So instead, you hit a ball off of a paddle and broke bricks because that was the closest you could get to pinball. I believe there's even the original Game Boy has a game called Pinball that came out during the launch window. That was just Brick Breaker, and Mario held the paddle, but the Fairchild Channel F had a game titled Pinball that did that, I believe. If the Atari didn't have one on console, it probably did on the arcade. I know the Atari had Arkanoid. But again, originally that's what video game pinball was considered to be. It was the closest facsimile that was possible. One of the biggest breakthroughs was probably EA's Pinball Construction Kit for PC that allowed you to construct your own pinball tables. But yeah, like, pinball used to be in launch titles or like near Windows to show off how a game could simulate that. Like the NES, one of the early black box titles, is a pinball game made by HAL Laboratory. And HAL Laboratory would also make pinball games on the original Game Boy a little later into its life. I believe, in addition to the pinball that was just Brick Breaker at launch, which I don't think was done by HAL. You had Revenge of the Gator, which I think was then later reskinned into Kirby's Pinball. Maybe there were some other changes. And then, of course, Pokemon Pinball came later. And on the GBA, Pokemon Pinball wasn't the only first-party Nintendo pinball, but there was a Mario's Pinball, which I'm pretty sure was absolutely destroyed at launch. And then you had Metroid Prime Pinball on the DS, and then Kirby Mass Attack, which was an entirely touch-based game on the DS, had an unlockable pinball mode in it. Although in the DS, I guess the Tactical Showcase, I guess it's partially the touchscreen, but it's less about the physical simulation of pinball at that point, and then more showing off what kind of things you could do with the aspect ratio of having two screens. Since with most most home video games, you couldn't actually simulate the vertical resolution of most pinball games unless you were on PC and had a vertically oriented monitor and the game supported that vertical orientation. Which nowadays that's much easier to do in software, and a lot of pinball games account for it. But I don't think that was always possible, especially in the days of CRTs when you couldn't easily rotate your monitor. Yeah. I don't know if I'm actually going to cover a lot of pinball games. I just kind of like them, and I thought I'd cover this one because I think this one's pretty exceptional, even though I'm doing really bad in this video, and I don't know what to talk about other than other pinball games. There's a multiplayer competitive pinball game on Steam. I think that's free or pretty cheap, called Kabounce, where it's multiple players playing as physical pinballs in an arena in order to score points. So it's a much more loose adaptation than even Breakout of the pinball concept. But I guess the idea is that you can move around and that elements of the table can affect you. And you'll, like, make sure to hit certain areas of the board to score points or capture them. Which, if I can get some people together to play that, I think that would be another interesting feature. And other than that, if I cover other pinball games, it's probably just going to be because I feel like playing them and I need to make a video anyways, which is what I'm doing today, other than to showcase this game because I think it's real neat. I am doing absolutely horrific. I did say I like virtual pinball games. I never said I was good at them. It's also just kind of an off day for me, which is something that I say every day, every time I record, every time I stream. If somebody could make a super cut of every time I say that something's just off about that day and I'm worse than usual, that would be great. It'll probably be at least 3 times every single video. I didn't mean to become this person, it's just what happened. Oh, it's $15 on Steam or on Xbox? Because I noticed it was $15 on Xbox, but at one point I looked on Steam and it was $10 and it didn't say it had a sale going on. But maybe it did have a sale going on and the UI was out? That was sure something. On Steam. Okay, so, yeah, maybe it wasn't displaying that properly then, or I'm losing my mind. Because I think that was during, what was it called? The Harvest Sale? The sale that was near Thanksgiving. I didn't get anything in that sale this time. Yeah. I think someone pointed out to me, because I said that I was playing this game, and so they went to check it out on Steam, and they said, how are you playing it? You don't own it. I was like, oh, wait, no, sorry, I don't own it on Steam. I only bought it this way since I was already playing the game via Game Pass, which meant that if I bought it this way, I could keep owning it on Xbox and PC, and also that my save data, my high scores. Which I guess doesn't matter too much for a game like this, but I don't know. I kind of like that one purchase got it for both versions, even though I feel like if I wanted to own it on a console, ideally for me it would be Switch so that I could play it handheld. Just wherever I'm going. Especially since I don't actually own Pokemon Pinball anymore, which is unfortunate. I lost my cartridge for both the Game Boy and the GBA version. The only way I have to play it now is the Wii U, which, while I can play it off the TV, it's not exactly the most portable way to play it. So as of right now, my solutions for portable pinball are that I own none of them. I guess I technically own a virtual console version of Kirby's Pinball on the 3DS. But other than that, no, I don't own Pokemon Pinball anymore. I never owned Metroid Prime Pinball. Wasn't there a Rayman Pinball on the GBA? Or was that, like, cancelled? I can't remember. I feel like I heard someone mention it once. I never played a Rayman game, though, until Rayman Legends. I just always vaguely knew that it existed. So it's only recently that well, I guess not recently, since, like, 2015? Since I had actually played a Rayman game and got more into them. I didn't actually have a Wii U yet, so I bought Rayman Legends on the Vita. But now I have it on the Wii U. But now I also have it on PC. And now I have it on PS4. How many times can I own this singular game? I bet I can own it in a few more. Just wait till they add it to an Xbox Live Games for Gold, so then I can also own it on an Xbox. And then I don't know how I'd get a hold of a Switch copy. I don't think I'm going to purposefully go out of my way to own every version of that game, but at this point, I'm so close already. I'm still not going to do that. But it'd be an easy goal to complete. I still don't know, next video I record, which probably won't be today, I'm not sure maybe I'll record another one today. I don't know if I should continue my Civ run. If I should continue Mario 3 or another one of the games I had in progress, or if I should just do another few one-offs or start a new series again and abandon the others like always happens. I never know what to do. I have a hard time sticking to things. What I would love to do though at some point is do some multiplayer strategy games as videos. I mean RTS as well, but specifically stuff like SimCity 2000 had a release called SimCity 2000 Network Edition that was multiplayer. It was only on store shelves for a year though, and it's a pain in the ass to run, and it's only up to 3-player. So I have no idea how I'd get that running, but I would like to do that. I'd love to do some Transport Tycoon Deluxe multiplayer or Roller Coaster Tycoon multiplayer via the Open RCT2 mod. If I knew anybody that owned SimCity 2013 or Tropico 5 or 6 that would want to do multiplayer, I'd love to do that. Or hell, just straight up Civ. Especially 6 or Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri. Like, if I could get together some people for that to do, like, a video or a series or a stream, that would be my current goal for what I want to do. That, or maybe a Final Fantasy Tactics, or Tactics Advance playthrough. Especially since it could be my excuse to finally finish those games. Although if I did the original Tactics, I would want to follow, like, a guide on how to play it properly. Just because of the original Tactics, I have such a big habit of making poor decisions with how I level up or class my characters, where I fuck myself over real bad, especially since the enemies in that game scale to your current level, which can be real rough. I had a save file where I got to the first mission where you encounter enemies that have the ninja class, and no matter what I do, they totally wipe the floor with me, and I don't know what to do to navigate around that. I'd also have to decide if I wanted to do either the original PS1 version, the PSP version since it has updated localization, but with a performance patch, and there are some other mods. I mean, I wouldn't want to do any of the mods that make it more difficult, but apparently the PSP and mobile version in Japan had exclusive story content in the form of, like, audio drama CDs or something like that, or extra cutscenes, I can't remember, but somebody made a patch to patch the game to add those in, but localized. And I'd have to see if that patch on the PSP is compatible with the performance patch, like if you could patch an ISO with both of them. Since I think you can only patch a disk image, because I do own that game as a digital download, but I don't think that could be patched just because I think the format is different. But if anybody interested in Final Fantasy Tactics or strategy game, stuff like that, you can make sure not to let me know in the comments, because I always ask every video, what should I do? And then I throw out 30,000 ideas. And at the end of the day, it really just comes down to what I am in the mood for. I don't even know why I post this stuff. Okay. After this ball, we'll do like one more round, and then I'll probably call it. Also, did you know that the online for Command & Conquer 3 still works on 360? I don't know if the game ever got PS3 ports, but the online still works on 360. On PC, you have to mod the game to play online. But on 360, it's still supported as long as you have Xbox Live Gold. And they even made it an Xbox One backwards compatible game. Which is wild to me, because I'm like, does anyone play that online? I'm pretty sure that base game CNC3 was known for having some really bad balance changes near the end of its life that they never fixed. They nerfed GDI hard, they buffed NOD a ton, they cut the resource harvesting rate, and they made it so that structures other than MCVs and outposts don't expand your build range. Which part of me has to wonder if that was purposefully malicious in order to sell the Kane's Wrath expansion pack, since that had different balance. Which that also has its online still on console. It just seems weird that EA would shut down the online for a PC-centric franchise like that on PC, but then it's still active on console. It's not like it's a ghost town there. But if you know someone who owns the 360 version and you own the 360 version, you both have Xbox Live Gold, you can still hop online and play it. Which honestly I kind of want to do. I couldn't record that though, I don't have the, I still don't have any console capture equipment. This is my, last time playing it for this video. After these 3 balls, I've probably already bored everyone to death with Pinball, so I will be out. I'll be trying to upload this on the same day of recording, just since I don't think I've uploaded anything in a little while. And at the very least, the beginning of this video serves as an update onto why I wasn't recording. I am still planning to stream Yakuza Kiwami, and hopefully after I do that I'll try and make some edits of those stream VODs to put on YouTube. Just again, with all the technical issues I've had, it made it impossible to stream or capture anything at all. The only reason I was able to stream something before now was because I streamed off of my PS4. I don't know, I feel like pinball games are an extremely niche interest. Also, I find it weird that I put SimCity 2013 up in the nomination for multiplayer city builders. I guess I'm that desperate to play a city builder multiplayer. Does anyone know if SimCity 3000 or 4 have a multiplayer mod? Or City Skylines, for that matter? Because I'd dig into that. I guess Anno has multiplayer if anybody owns Anno. I'd be up for that. I only have Anno 1800 and there were 2 future ones, like 2070 and something else. I have the older one. So I only have those 2. I guess I have Stronghold. I have the Stronghold games. Those are city buildy RTSE. Oh, and Rise of Nations. I also have Rise of Legends, but that you can't get that digitally, so I'd have to find someone else with a physical copy. Not that that's impossible. Since I own a physical copy, it's just a lot less accessible. I don't know. maybe I'll ask something that isn't a request or a future video. Does anybody know any multiplayer city game building games, or like tycoon-ish type games? Because like Transport Tycoon is not a city builder, but you know, that kind of game. Any game like that you know that's multiplayer, or isn't multiplayer but has like a mod in order to play that multiplayer over the internet, just please, anyone, let me know. I'm dying to play like any city simulator and multiplayer. I love that genre, and even if the multiplayer interactions themselves aren't that fantastic, I don't know, just being able to play something like that in the same space at the same time with someone would be great. Well, I think that's all I've got. Again, this is Demon's Tilt. Yeah. I'm not great at it, but I think it's real fun. And it doesn't appeal to everyone, but if you're into that weird niche shit, I forgot to end the recording. Oh shit, I knocked this over. Fuck. Alright.